Ari, let me start with the questioning that got heated by Lindsey Graham over Judge Jackson's work as a public defender of Guantanamo detainees. In spite of the fact, I think we all know this, access to a lawyer is a pretty fundamental right of our judicial system. But do we have the accusation, the back and forth that he had with Senator Durbin? Are we ready to play that? OK, let's take a listen.
Since 9/11, nearly 1,000 convicted in the United States on terrorism charges. Since 2009, with the beginning of the Obama administration, the recidivism rate of Guantanamo detainees released is 5%.
Mr. Chairman, according to the Director of National Intelligence, is 31%. Somebody is wrong here. If you're going to talk about what I said, I'm going to respond to what you said. If we close Gitmo and move them to Colorado, do you support indefinite detention under the law of war for these detainees?
I would just say I'm giving the facts. And
the answer is no.
I want to make sure that it's clear. The 31% you referred to goes back to the year 2009? 2000.
What does it matter when it goes back to? We had them and they got loose and they started killing people.
Well, I could just say that
if you're one of the people killed in 2005, does it matter to you when we release them?
Suggest that a president of your own party released them in.
I'm suggesting the system has failed miserably, and advocates to change this system, like she was advocating, would destroy our ability to protect this country. We're at war. We're not fighting a crime. This is not some passage of time event. As long as they're dangerous, I hope they all die in jail if they're going to go back and kill Americans. It won't bother me one bit if 39 of them die in prison. That's a better outcome than letting them go. And if it costs $500 million to keep them in jail, keep them in jail, because they're going to go back to the fight. Look at the friggin' Afghan government. It's made up of former detainees at Gitmo. This whole thing by the left about this war ain't working.
And Ari, then he got up and walked away. Graham, though, pointing toward the judge, suggesting arguments made in the amicus brief would destroy our ability to protect this country. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it was by far the sharpest and hottest moment we've seen in this hearing. I will say I don't know that it landed a glove on Judge Jackson. You ended up with two senators sort of debating each other. As for Senator Graham, I'll say two things. One, he's partly correct in that later rulings did okay some of the very holding patterns, the detention that brief had argued against. So in that sense, he has a legal point. He's basically trying to say, hey, Judge, didn't you once advocate for something that lost? Of course, any lawyer will tell you, and everyone's watched Law and Order, if you practice law long enough, you'll be on both sides of cases. I don't know that that's anything disqualifying. Where he's partly wrong, as you showed with Senator Durbin, was over the statistics. The reason why that matters, briefly, in case folks are watching and saying, what's this all about? Recidivism, or the idea that people return to commit offenses, be it a crime or, in this case, return to the battlefield, as Lindsey Graham put it, is a big deal. And the questions there are about whether those detention systems were working or letting too many people out. But again, as for what we're really watching here, did it move a vote on the nomination? Didn't feel like that. It felt more like a chance for Senator Graham to show that he has an impassioned view, which he's welcome to have, that he has some cases on his side. That's true. And as for the statistics, again, she didn't take a position on that one way or the other. She was very careful, and I thought very clear in her answers to basically say, yes, I was involved in writing these briefs. I could tell you what the law is, and I'm not going to get into policy. We heard that sort of rebuttal from her respectfully over and over again against Graham and some of the other questions.